Hello, today we're going to talk about conclusions, and I know it's probably been a while since you revisited this mortal coil, but in light of everything that's going on in the world, I think it's a really good time to write the conclusion. You've done a lot of the hard work already. You've found your three examples, you've discussed them in detail, and now you're ready to pull it all together and really make your final point. So we're going to start by looking at one example that's pretty straightforward from a book that you probably haven't read. And then I'm going to show you the example that I wrote last night so you can get an idea of how it might look like for this mortal coil. If you are in class with Ms. Collins and I, you'll recognize some of the points we've been talking about throughout this entire essay process. And then we'll leave you with a few guiding questions and sentence starters at the end so that you can write your own conclusion no matter what your thesis statement is. So remember, your thesis statement is a theme. So your theme should be universal, and it should be something that you can apply to a lot of different texts or different situations. So in my conclusion, I'm really going to think, how can I take this theme that I've been writing about and how can I connect it to the world or kind of to the bigger picture? And that can be tricky sometimes, but with a little bit of practice, it'll get easier. So first thing you're going to do is restate the thesis statement. Then you will connect the dots by reflecting on your whole argument. You'll answer, why is this important and why does it matter? And then you'll write a concluding sentence or two to connect the big picture back to the theme. So here's a pretty straightforward example. I think I just did a sentence or two for each point. So this is for the book Ash and Winter, which is the second book in the Ashfall series. We looked at this example way back at the beginning of the unit. So for my restatement of the thesis, I'm saying the eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano has forced people to adapt to a new world with limited resources required for survival. So if you look at the top of the screen, people must change and adapt in order to survive new situations was my original thesis. So I made it more specific to the book, and then I applied my thesis in the later part of that sentence. So that's something you can get away with by the end of the essay because you've reproved your thesis 3 different times. Throughout Ash and Winter, Alex encounters individuals and groups who make choices that would have been unfathomable in the world before the disaster, from theft and cannibalism to a government gone rogue. There's 2 ways I can do this sentence where I connect the dots by reflecting on the whole argument. One is to make a sentence that mentions each of the 3 points that I talk about in my body paragraphs. The other way that I could do that is how I did this here, which is I kind of made a big general statement about all of the examples that I made, and then I added this little part at the end of the sentence, from theft and cannibalism to a government gone rogue. In my original essay, I talked about theft in one paragraph, I talked about cannibalism in another paragraph, and then I talked about the government gone rogue in my third body paragraph. So it's just kind of giving an overview and reminding the reader of what they read. Next sentence. Is survival worth the cost of everything that makes us human? So in this case, this is my attempt to really answer the question of why is this important and why does it matter? Alex's search for his girlfriend and family gives him purpose in the book, but forces him to grapple with this difficult question. So what I did was I asked a rhetorical question, is survival worth the cost of everything that makes us human? It was a question that I felt like the book was asking. And then I did my best to answer it because I don't want to leave questions that are too open-ended here in this conclusion. My final sentence, I said, humans adapt to new situations in order to survive, but may lose their humanity in the process. This is my concluding sentence connecting the big picture back to the theme. So notice you're going to see some of those same keywords. You're going to see that in my thesis, I use the word survive. I talk about people, so I use humans and humanity. And then I talk about adapting to new situations. So you see some of that same language from my thesis statement coming back. Okay. I'm about to run out of time in this recording, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another video that just talks through my example, and then you will have a chance to write your conclusion on your own.